Have you ever looked in the mirror and noticed something small, almost harmless, resting quietly on your eyelid? A tiny yellow bump, maybe soft, maybe waxy, almost like a skin tag or a bit of fat that just appeared over time. Most people shrug it off. Maybe it's aging, maybe it's cholesterol, maybe it's nothing at all. But what if I told you that little bump might be your heart trying to send you a warning? A gentle whisper that something deeper is happening. A clue not just on your face but inside your arteries. This video is not about scaring you. It's about awakening your awareness because your body is constantly speaking to you. And the signs it gives are subtle but powerful. Especially after the age of 60, you see there is a condition called Xanthelasma. These are the yellowish, slightly raised patches that form around the eyelids. Often they look like fat deposits, and while they don't hurt and are usually considered cosmetic by many doctors, they may carry a more urgent message. According to several studies, including those published in the British Medical Journal, Xanthelasma can be linked to higher cholesterol levels and, more importantly, a higher risk of heart disease. It is one of those visible signs of what we call lipid metabolism disorders. Simply put, your body may not be handling fats and cholesterol properly. Let's make this real for a moment. I want to introduce you to Ruth, a 69-year-old grandmother from Iowa. She noticed small yellow patches forming near the corners of her eyelids. At first, she thought it was just part of getting older, but over time they became more prominent. So during a routine checkup, she asked her doctor about them. The doctor dismissed it as harmless. But Ruth had a feeling something inside her told her not to let it go, so she insisted on a full blood panel. And what came back shocked everyone. Her LDL cholesterol, the bad kind, was dangerously high. Her triglycerides were elevated too. She was at risk of a heart attack without even knowing it. Ruth's story is not uncommon. Many people, especially seniors, live with silent heart risks. They look fine, they feel fine, until one day their heart gives out a signal that cannot be ignored. Unfortunately, sometimes that signal comes too late. But in Ruth's case, those yellow patches gave her a second chance. Her cardiologist put her on a personalized plan with medication, a Mediterranean-style diet, and a walking routine. Today, she is healthier than she was 10 years ago, and it all started with noticing her eyelids. So let's talk about what these yellow bumps could really mean. The skin around your eyes is incredibly thin, one of the thinnest areas on your body that makes it a place where changes in your blood and fat composition can become visible earlier than elsewhere. Xanthelasma is often made of cholesterol that leaks from your blood vessels into the surrounding tissue. It's your body saying, hey, something's off up here. Take a closer look. Another example is Walter, a 74-year-old veteran from Arizona who loved grilling steaks and spending time with his grandkids. He never had any major health issues, but during a family barbecue, his daughter pointed out a soft yellow spot near his left eye. He brushed it off with a joke, but she insisted he get it checked out. A few weeks later, his test results showed significant plaque buildup in his coronary arteries. The doctor told him he was on the path to a heart attack. Walter was stunned. He felt fine. Strong even, but inside his arteries were stiff and narrowing from years of unbalanced cholesterol levels. That tiny yellow bump, it was not just fat, it was a red flag. Now, I am not saying every yellow patch means heart trouble, but I am saying you deserve to understand what your body's trying to say, especially when you are in your 60s, 70s, or beyond. Because early detection is the greatest gift we can give ourselves at this stage in life. Let's also be honest. Aging comes with changes. Some are normal, some are not. And when it comes to heart health, so much damage happens silently. Over time, arteries stiffen, cholesterol builds, blood pressure rises, even if we feel completely fine. The good news is there is so much we can do once we know, once we notice, once we listen. If you have noticed yellowish bumps or patches on or around your eyelids, it is worth asking your doctor for a deeper check. Not just a quick glance, not just a physical, but a full blood panel that includes LDL, HDL triglycerides, and even a coronary calcium score if your doctor agrees. These are not just numbers. These are the stories your body is trying to tell. So take a moment to pause and reflect. Have you noticed changes in your eyelids, or maybe a friend or loved one has? Bring it up. Talk about it. Let curiosity lead the way instead of fear. If this is resonating with you, I'd love for you to comment with your age or where you are watching from. It's wonderful to know we are on this journey together, a community of people who care about their hearts, their bodies, and their futures. Let's keep walking forward, you and me, because awareness is the first step toward transformation. Now that we've opened the door to this quiet signal on the eyelids, let's look at what could be happening beneath the surface. Because when cholesterol starts to misbehave, it rarely limits itself to just one place. Cholesterol is not the enemy. It's actually essential for many of your body's functions. But like most things in life, it's about balance. Too much of the wrong kind, and it begins to line your arteries like a slow-growing moss. That soft yellow bump on your eyelid might just be a small visible sign of something much larger taking shape in your bloodstream. Take the story of Franco, 76-year-old retired engineer from Ohio. Frank was meticulous about everything in his life, his lawn, his finances, even his chess games, but he never really thought much about his cholesterol. He didn't eat fast food. He walked every morning. He thought he was doing fine. Then one afternoon, while checking himself in the mirror, he noticed a pair of yellowish smudges on his upper eyelids. They weren't painful, just knew Frank's wife had seen a news article about Xanthelasma and gently nudged him to ask his doctor. Frank thought it was overkill, but to humor her, he agreed. His doctor ordered a lipid panel, and the results left him stunned. Frank had high LDL, low HDL, and signs of early vascular inflammation. The doctor explained that even though Frank felt perfectly fine, the walls of his arteries were thickening quietly under the surface. This kind of damage accumulates over time, like layers of paint on an old wall. Each year of unchecked cholesterol adds a little more, until one day it cracks, and that's when strokes and heart attacks happen, often without warning. Now imagine if Frank had ignored that sign. If his wife hadn't spoken up, that tiny yellow smudge saved his life. One of the reasons these signs go unnoticed is because they don't feel dangerous. They don't throb, they don't bleed, they don't interfere with your vision. They just sit there quietly. But sometimes it's the quiet signs we need to listen to the most. Now let's take a moment to understand what actually causes xanthelasma inside the body. It starts with lipoproteins, which are tiny carriers of cholesterol in your blood. When your LDL or bad cholesterol levels rise, they begin to deposit cholesterol in areas with thin skin or weak vessel walls. The eyelids are a perfect target. Think of it like this. Imagine your blood vessels as narrow city streets. Normally traffic flows smoothly, but when cholesterol gets too high, it's like dump trucks full of debris parking in the middle of the road. Now traffic slows down, the roads become damaged over time, potholes form, and the city begins to break down. Your arteries work the same way, and your heart's at the center of that city. Here's another piece of the puzzle. High triglycerides, which are another type of fat in your blood, they tend to rise with age, especially if your diet is high in sugar, processed carbs, or alcohol. Triglycerides also contribute to the formation of xanthelasma. And worse, they thicken the blood, making your heart work harder with every beat. Let me introduce you to Maria. A 71-year-old widowed nurse from Florida, Maria always took care of others but rarely took time for herself. Her diet was mostly toast and coffee during the day and a sweet treat at night. Comfort food, she called it. One day while applying makeup, she noticed a pale yellow patch on her lower eyelid. She assumed it was aging or maybe an allergy, but a month later it was bigger, so she finally booked a physical. Her blood work showed extremely high triglycerides and prediabetes. Her doctor explained that sugar, not fat, was the real culprit, and that the yellow patches were one of the earliest signs that her metabolic health was shifting. Maria changed her diet. She cut back on sugar and started adding more fiber and healthy fats. She began walking in the evenings. Just 3 months later, her triglycerides were cut nearly in half. It didn't require perfection, it required awareness. And that's the point here. These bumps, these patches, they aren't your enemy. They are your early warning system. They are your chance to listen before it's too late. Now let's talk about what to do if you notice xanthelasma. First, don't panic. Many people have them and they don't always mean your heart is in danger, but do take them seriously. Ask your doctor for a full cholesterol panel and not just total cholesterol. That number alone is misleading. Request your LDL, HDL triglycerides, and ideally your ApoB or lipoprotein. A levels if your doctor has access to them. These are more specific markers of cardiovascular risk. And if something seems off, take that as a gift. Because catching heart risk early gives you more power than you think. The truth is, cholesterol doesn't have to be your enemy. Your lifestyle plays a massive role in shaping your heart's future. What you eat, how you move, how you sleep, even how you manage stress. These are your daily opportunities to keep your heart open and strong. If you're still watching and finding these lessons valuable, please comment the number 1 below, just so I know you're still with me. Thank you for your precious time. It means the world. Let's keep going because this conversation might just add years to your life. Let's keep following this thread a little deeper, because for many people, the signs on the outside are only the beginning of a much bigger story unfolding quietly inside. When your heart is healthy, it moves blood with ease. Oxygen flows, nutrients are delivered, cells repair and heal. But when cholesterol builds up in your arteries, that smooth rhythm starts to change. It's like trying to water a garden through a hose that's slowly being pinched tighter and tighter. And here's something most people don't realize. Your eyes are not just windows to the soul, they are windows to your circulation. Behind your eyelids are tiny blood vessels, smaller than a strand of hair. These microvessels are some of the first to show signs of cholesterol damage. And when they become stressed or inflamed, your body sometimes pushes out the excess fat in the form of small deposits under the skin. This is why xanthelasma can appear even before other symptoms like chest pain or shortness of breath show up. It's the body's way of trying to offload what it cannot carry. Now I want to share the story of Helena, a 78-year-old piano teacher from Minnesota who had been healthy all her life. She didn't smoke, she ate mostly home-cooked meals. She stayed mentally active through music and puzzles. But she started noticing that every time she looked in the mirror, her eyes looked tired. There was a dull patch on the skin above her right eyelid. It was pale at first, then turned slightly yellow. She wasn't vain about it, but it bothered her enough to bring it up at her annual checkup. Her doctor was curious and sent her to a cardiologist not because of how it looked, but because of Helen's family history of early heart disease. The cardiologist ordered an advanced scan called a coronary calcium test, and there it was. Her arteries were beginning to harden. Calcium and cholesterol had started to narrow the space where blood once flowed freely. Helen was shocked. She never had high cholesterol on her routine blood tests, but the doctor explained that for some people especially, women over 70 standard tests missed the early signs. That yellow bump on her eyelid turned out to be a blessing in disguise. Now she takes a low-dose statin walks every day and practices deep breathing exercises to help her heart rhythm. Her energy is back, and so is her peace of mind. This is why I say it's not about panic, it's about partnership between you and your body. And if you do have xanthelasma, what else can you do beyond the doctor's visit? Let's talk about daily habits you can adopt that support your heart from the inside out. Start with the plate in front of you. Think of every meal as either helping or hurting your heart. Leafy greens, fatty fish like salmon, walnuts, olive oil, beans, and berries. These aren't just health trends. They are time-tested foods that lower LDL and raise HDL, which helps clear cholesterol out of your arteries. Avoid refined carbs like white bread, sugary cereals, pastries. These foods spike blood sugar and promote triglyceride buildup in the liver, which contributes to fat deposits not just in your belly, but also around your eyes. And hydration matters too. Dehydration thickens the blood, making your heart work harder. Aim for water, herbal teas, or simple broth-based soups, especially in the morning when your blood is naturally thicker after sleep. But it's not just food. Movement is medicine. And no, you don't have to run marathons. A simple 20-minute walk after meals lowers blood sugar and improves cholesterol balance. Gentle stretching Tai Chi or dancing in your living room. All of it matters. All of it counts. And please don't overlook sleep. Poor sleep raises stress hormones like cortisol, which increases inflammation and cholesterol production. Protect your sleep like you protect your heart. Keep your room cool, dark, and quiet. Avoid screens before bed, and give your body permission to truly rest. Now let's touch on something even deeper. Stress, not just the kind that comes from busy days, but the silent kind. The kind that lingers, the kind that comes from worry, regret, loneliness, or loss. Chronic emotional stress triggers inflammation in the blood vessels. It stiffens the arteries, it fuels the very conditions we're trying to prevent. And for many seniors, emotional health is the missing link in physical healing. That's why finding joy matters. Talking with a friend, sitting in nature, laughing at old stories, giving your mind something beautiful to hold on to every day. You are not just a collection of symptoms. You are a whole being, and healing your heart includes your thoughts, your breath, and your daily choices. So if you've noticed yellow bumps around your eyelids, remember they are not a curse. They are not something to be ashamed of. They are a gentle knock on the door, a chance to pause, check in, and take action before anything more serious happens. Your heart is always speaking to you, sometimes through energy, sometimes through rhythm, and yes, sometimes even through your skin. Remember, small actions repeated with love can reverse decades of silent damage. So what was the one lesson today that really hit home for you? Please share one habit you plan on adopting in your life. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so we can keep growing this beautiful community together. Here's to living your best life at any age. Sometimes we spend our lives waiting for big warnings, a sharp pain, a sudden fall, a loud alarm to tell us something is wrong. But in reality, the body is a whisperer, not a shouter. It gives us hints first, gentle nudges, quiet changes in places we don't always expect, a tiny yellow patch on your eyelid, a little more tiredness after meals, a feeling of heaviness that wasn't there before. These aren't always accidents, they are messages, and they deserve to be heard. One of the most powerful things you can do after 60 is become fluent in your body's language. Not fear it, not dismiss it, but truly listen. When we talked about Xanthelasma, we weren't just talking about bumps on the skin. We were talking about clues to your inner environment, whether it's high LDL, low HDL, elevated triglycerides, or even hidden inflammation. These indicators often show up long before the heart itself begins to struggle. Let's return to the idea of cholesterol for a moment, because for years many people were told that cholesterol was simply about food. Eat fat and your cholesterol rises, avoid fat and your cholesterol falls. But now we know it's more nuanced than that. Cholesterol is a building block for every cell in your body. Your brain, your hormones, even your digestion rely on it. But when the balance is off, especially the balance between LDL and HDL, it can become dangerous. And here's something else worth knowing. Some people have a genetic tendency called familial hypercholesterolemia. That means even if they eat perfectly,